This is my best friend, Kobi. If you're wondering what breed he is, he's an Australian Kobi dog, and I'm so in love with him. What I want to talk to you about today is how we got Kobi all the way from Australia to Europe. It was such a nice experience, and it's something that I wanted to share with anybody who's looking to either travel with their dog, relocate their dog, or just go on an adventure, experience something new with their dog. So what we did is we took a pet travel company. Well, actually, they're more than a pet travel company. They are called Sky Pets. And what it is, it's like a chartered plane where it's basically just dogs and their owners. So on this one that we were on, there was 32 dogs, 2 cats, and 29 humans. And I can honestly say it was the most incredible experience of my life from start to finish. You know, I had wanted to travel with my dogs, obviously, but it was just, you could never find anything like this unless you put them in the cargo, which I would never do. It was kind of, you're stuck. And Australia is very far away from pretty much everywhere. So, you know, I was always limited to traveling for like 3 weeks maximum because I couldn't stay away from him that long. So when we discovered this, like, it was super exciting. And I want to just talk you through the whole procedure of how it works and also talk a little bit about our experiences in Europe with a dog as well. So Sky Pets is run by Joanna and Liam, a beautiful couple. I think they're originally from the UK and they had moved to Australia with their 3 dogs, 3 huskies, and they didn't know how to sort of get them back and forth from Australia to the UK. And it was during the COVID time where they wanted to kind of go back home that they found a solution, and they started this Sky Pets, which, as I said, charters the plane and takes all of these owners and their furry friends across the sea. So the whole experience from start to finish was absolutely incredible for me. They organize everything from the paperwork to the vaccinations that the dogs need, to what they need when they arrive in London, to everything in between. And you have your own little online portal where you get all of your messages, pre-flight, and everything that you need. The plane takes off from Melbourne, and it was like a private sort of jet like area where you go there with the dogs, and it was so welcoming. The dogs got their treats, the dogs got to play with the other dogs. We all kind of mingled beforehand. It was such a nice experience. And then we boarded the plane, and I tell you what, like, so many dogs on a plane, you would think that it would be chaos. But it was absolutely like stress-free. Like, all the dogs would come in, and upon takeoff and landing, they would have to go in their crates. And then during the flight, they were able to come out, sit with you, sit on the seat with you, in front of you, mingle, and just, it was awesome. We flew from Melbourne to, well, actually, initially we were supposed to go via Dubai. So it was supposed to be Melbourne, Singapore, Dubai, London. But because of the war situation and everything, we had to kind of reroute. And so it took much longer than it should have. So we went Melbourne, Singapore, Mombasa, Kenya, which was crazy. I didn't even know where Mombasa was before then. Mombasa, Malaga in Spain, Malaga, London. So that was the flight, and we had to, you know, land and take off so many times. The dogs were a little bit unhappy about going into the crate. They were all yelling, screaming, not happy about that. But as I said, as soon as they came out, it was quiet. If you ever traveled with babies on a plane, you think, gosh, babies are so noisy. Like, the dogs, you don't hear a peep. You do not hear a peep from them. And I think, you know, judging by that experience that I had, more airlines should make this accessible so that everyone can travel with their dogs. You know, it was absolutely gorgeous. Also, the doggies had a toilet area at the back where they would go and do their potties. And to be frank, like, my dog didn't even need to go that much. Like, I didn't feed him during the flight. It was kind of just like snacks and then, you know, a little bit of water just to keep him hydrated. But he just slept pretty much the whole time when we were in the air. Once we got to like a stage where it was nighttime, all the lights went out, all the dogs were sleeping. It was absolutely beautiful. And as I said, the whole experience was magical. Joanna and Liam just went above and beyond to reassure everybody traveling, to make the experience really fun, really stress-free. Like, you literally don't need to think about anything. They take care of it all. So if you're considering traveling either from Australia to Europe or Europe to Australia, please do check them out. They're wonderful, wonderful company. And I think they also have flights to the US now as well, which is great. And I'm hoping that in 2026, 27, we can get more of these flights going, which would be great. And so then when we landed in London, again, the experience was amazing. The dogs were so excited to be on the ground. We came there, we got a few vet checks, and they got their little passport for Europe because we were traveling to Europe after that. And then the little ticket that you get for the UK allows you about 10 days to stay, and then you kind of have to go out. Otherwise, if you want to stay longer, then you get another certificate, obviously. And then in London, like, we were mind blown. We were mind blown with how dog friendly it was. Coming from Australia, like, we live in Bondi, it's quite dog friendly, but not to the extent like Europe. In London, they were able to go to the shopping centre. They were able to go to the restaurants, like to all the cafes. Like, dogs, I felt, were more welcome than people in most places, which was just awesome. Kobi went on the bus, on the big red bus in London. We went on the train. I mean, it was just an awesome experience. I loved it. We also loved the weather. It was kind of a little bit cooler, which we weren't used to back in Australia. London was really cold, actually, but it was nice. I felt like the energy was a lot more when we were going out running in the parks and stuff. He didn't get as hot as quickly, so that was really nice. And then we traveled from London to Spain, where we are now. And that was also a nice experience. We had a nice chartered plane to get us to Spain as well. They met us and they got their microchips done, and it was such a smooth experience also. Getting to Spain also, again, very, very dog friendly. Europe, I was told before I came that Europe would be very dog friendly. I would be pleasantly surprised. But I didn't actually expect it to be this dog friendly. And I think the beauty of being in Europe with the dog is that you have so many places that you can travel to. You can drive to different countries, you can explore in the mountains. Like where we were in Spain, we were going up to hike, and then they were swimming in these like rivers, and it was so different. Like, it was really different. And as dog friendly, as I said, as Australia is, I think it doesn't really compare to Europe. And I'm really excited for our adventure. We're going to be here for a couple of months, and so far I've been loving it. On the way back, when you go back into Australia, if you're not an Australian dog and you're just importing your dog into Australia, there's something that you have to keep in mind. For Australian dogs, quarantine period is 10 days. So you have to make sure that if you're traveling into Australia, you prepare all of this in advance. There's a lot of paperwork to do, and you want to be prepared, like with the rabies vaccine. You want to be prepared with all the paperwork, microchipping, all that good stuff that you need with you. So, plan ahead of time. As I said, for an Australian dog, it's 10 days quarantine in Melbourne. The facilities are amazing in Melbourne, so don't let that deter you. I've already done all my research because I'm like, that's probably going to be the worst part for me, leaving him there for 10 days. But, it's kind of like you have to deal with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have never taken him. But for non-Australian dogs, I think the quarantine period is around 30 days. So be mindful of that as well if you're taking your dog into Australia or importing your dog into Australia. Depending how long you're going to stay there, those 30 days might not be worth it unless you're permanently moving there. So yeah, like I said, I'm not thinking about the quarantine just yet. I'm kind of focusing for where I am now and enjoying the process, and we'll deal with that when it comes. But again, Sky Pets, who we're flying back with, they help with all of that. They organize all the paperwork for you. They book the quarantine for you. They prepare you for everything that you need. So it's just awesome. I understand some people have to travel with their dogs. They have to put them under cargo. I have no experience of that. I don't think I could ever do that. I would just be too stressed and too anxious. And I think it's super cruel for them. So having this opportunity to kind of take them in cabin, have them sit with you, it was so, so fun. And like I said, I'm hoping that more airlines will come to do this, to allow people to travel with their dogs, because it's an experience. It's awesome. And yeah, I guess we'll keep you posted with our experiences in Europe and talk you more through that. If there's any questions that you have around that, if you want to know more, drop me some comments. Happy to answer, happy to help guide you through, because I know before I traveled with Kobe, I was always looking for this information, like how can I do it? What is the process? Where is it dog friendly? Where is it not? And now that I've done it, I'm like, more people need to know about this, because it's very doable and it's very stress-free and you can make it happen. So yeah, I look forward to it. And I know that if you have a furry best friend, you always want the best for them. So I'm super happy to help out. Any questions that you guys need, any information, let me know in the comments. And yeah, we'll keep you posted. Chat soon. See you in the next video.